Good morning, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube family. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Back to the World, my brother and my sister's keeper. I'm Tony, and thank you guys for joining this morning. Any music that you may hear in the background, we don't own the rights to. But if you have any comments, questions, or anything that you care to share, hit us in the boxes down below. Okay? Again, we like to send our heartfelt, deepest sympathy to all those folk that perished and were injured in the New Orleans tragedy. We send our love and our blessings out to the family.
Hello, Moto.
Just a second, y'all. Good morning, Amani.
Hey, good morning.
How are you?
I know, sir. You not responding in the text message. You gonna go to the party today at 5 o'clock for Lance and Craig, Mom?
I need the directions.
All right. Look in the group text. You don't be looking in the group text.
Nah, just send it to me direct. I try to still wait. You know, here's the thing, right? I be having a lot of stuff going on, man, and you know, during football season and basketball, whatever. You know, everybody's texting everybody back to back to back, man, and that shit gets on my nerve. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I'll send it.
Yeah. Hey, listen. I mean, you know, I'm sorry if it's, you know, if it's a problem that way, man. I understand, but it bothers me. Yeah, it bothers me. So I don't even have it on notification. Huh? Talk to me.
Oh, I was going to see if everybody could give $10 and put the money in a card for her, you know, for her 90th birthday. I was thinking,
well,
if it's 90 of us, she get $90.
Okay.
But I know for sure right now, I know for sure it's like maybe 6 or 7 of us.
Hey, listen. Shoot for the moon, man. Worst case scenario, we land amongst the stars.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm gonna send you the address.
Yeah, send me the address, and you say it's 5 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
They want everybody there about 5. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna send it to you.
Okay then. It's not too far from Greg's. I've been there before.
No. No.
Okay.
No. All right.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right.
Okay. What do we have here? Okay, we're back. Again, man, as I said, we'd like to send out our condolences and sympathy to the families of the victims of the tragedy that happened in New Orleans. All right. This morning, any music that you may hear, we don't own the rights to. Okay. I say that every time up front, man, but yet I still end up going to I still end up going to Facebook jail. But before I get going with what we're going to talk about this morning, you know, I want to give some PSAs, man. And one is for all you book lovers, all you readers out there, all you that gives books as gifts. This is my book, Business Always Personal. You can purchase your copy either from Amazon.com or from our bookstore. That's at www.bookshop.org/shop/Sonetquity. Okay? You can buy any of your desires or what have you. Anything that you can buy from Amazon.com, you can buy from our bookstore. Okay, so just visit our website and purchase your book. Join, and just by submitting your phone number and your email address, and you'll receive a newsletter every month on all the specials and everything that we have to offer. Okay, we got big news coming up down the line for our book club. All right, all of my brothers and sisters that were incarcerated, all of you, you know that your family couldn't buy you a book, then they wrap it up and send it to you. They have to send it directly from a bookstore. So we mail books into the prison system, both state and federal. Doesn't matter your city or state. We mail the books. You give us your family member's number and the prison address, his name, his prison number, and his address, and we will kindly mail the books there for you. We will ship the books to them. Okay? Thank you guys for that. All right. Second, okay, purchase your Botana oil from us. This is 100% raw, pure Botana oil. Okay? This is what the Botana oil looks like in its uncut form. And it's sort of like in a cocoa butter texture and everything. But you can heat it and it oils up the whole bit. But what do we have here? My video ended. Not showing. Okay, we're going to come back to this. Okay. Don't know what's happening here. No, we don't want to discard here. Okay. It's in the archives. I don't know. Okay, this is we're getting back on track here. All right, trying to get back on Instagram here. Right, discard. My Instagram page is acting up a little bit, but anyway, this is what pure 100% Botana oil looks like. All right, visit our website to purchase your Botana oil. It's good for hair growth, for cancer patients, people suffering from psoriasis, eczema, and alopecia. This is the product. All right, we sell it retail. Visit our site at www.gloosUDS.com. It's pronounced glow suds, but someone already had the W and someone only had the one O. So we added two O's, but it's glow, as in shine. All right? And it's 100% natural product. People are asking what are the ingredients and the whole bit. The only ingredient is the Botana oil. There's nothing else. Okay? And it has a coffee smell to it. Right? But it dissipates, and the aroma is very good once you mix it with your skin and everything. So go to our site and purchase your Botana oil retail. But now if you're interested in drop shipping, market and advertise as an influencer. Market our product on your site, on your Instagram page, TikTok page, whatever. All right? And have your clients or have your friends purchase and place their orders with you on your site. So for everyone that places an order with you, and for every order that you receive, right, we're giving $3 off of each jar. So, I mean, you pretty much get paid before you do the work. You deduct your funds, and then you mail their mailing information, the quantity of product of their order, and the remaining monies for the order, and we will drop ship that order for you. Okay. We also do leaders. We also sell leaders, and leaders are if you wanted to start your own, and that's from our affiliate marketing program. If you want to start your own project, name your own oils, because there's no difference in the oil that we're selling in that you're going to get. It's 100% raw. Now, if you're going to add something to it to put a cut on it or whatever the situation may be, that's perfectly okay. That's you. But we will be your distributor. So for both of these opportunities, the drop shipping program and the affiliate marketing program, inbox me, DM me for more information, and I can give you all the goods on that. Okay, with that said, this morning, what we're going to talk about. What's going on? What's going on, Op? How you doing? Third. And Happy New Year's to you, brother. All right, peace and blessings. Right. What I wanted to address this morning. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What I wanted to address this morning is mental illness amongst black men. Okay? I wanted to talk about mental illness amongst black men, right? And if you've been watching my presentation for about the past year, you will know I give you updates on. I'm seeking therapy. I'm literally seeking therapy, and thank you guys, thank you. I'm seeking therapy. I have a therapy session once a week, and for 1 hour. And I'm gonna tell you, man, a lot of us, we don't volunteer to do that because we feel like it's beneath us, or we're smart enough to be able to figure it out for ourselves, or black folk don't do that. Well, I felt that way early on. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you, I see a lot of my contemporaries. They've gotten out, man, and they've been, and some of them have done some wonderful things, such as the brother that's on here right now. Brother Third. Quite a few of these brothers, man, they're going, and because they have good family nucleus, they have great family support, right? And sometimes when you're lacking that family support, that's where the bottom comes out. And that's when you're dealing with things that you feel you can't deal with alone. And you need someone there. So, the incident that happened in New Orleans this past week, New Year's Day, or morning, that brother was suffering from mental illness and depression. Right? I'm not making excuses for him. It's just a trained eye. And I've gone through this enough in life. And then I just started seeking therapy to recognize the signs and the symptoms. Okay? And as soon as I heard that the brother was black and had done this, I listened a little bit more. And they were saying that, his relationship with his wife had broke up, they parted, or whatever the situation may have been, and then he was in financial straits, right? He had credit card debt, the whole bit. But see, the thing is, right? Sometimes when the media get things, and they were saying that he was in 35,000 plus in debt, the whole nine. But a brother might have had $35,000 that he charged on his credit card, right? He might have had $35,000, but he might have had a $100,000 limit on that card. You know what I'm saying? And if he's working and he's earning a living, he's paying the monthly installments on the credit card. So maybe he wasn't in debt, right? But now, here's the thing, right? Hold on just a sec. Denisha, let me call you back. I'm in the middle of a podcast.
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye. So what happens is, right, he's not having any trouble financially. But this is the way they paint the narrative. And they tell you that, he's in financial straits the whole nine. But now when they start delving a little deeper, they say that he was a realtor and that he lost his real estate license. Now we don't know how he did that. Did he let it lapse? Did he not renew it? Whatever the situation may have been. But now when they said that he was in the process of calling his wife and his kids over to the house, and he wanted to kill them, now we're talking something different, right? And I tell you, I've talked to a few guys, and sitting around the cigar lounge, and we talk about things like this. And I go there for a good smoke, and I go there for a good conversation. But if you leave me alone and I just sit there and think and just answer questions, and just just text and the whole bit, read different news reels, I'm good. But every now and then you get a wonderful conversation. Good morning, Denisha. Good morning. I'm sorry, Denisha. Your uncle's blind, and I'm sitting back here and I can't see that well. Yeah, but thanks for joining. But when this guy, when they said that he wanted to kill his wife and his kids, see, now we're getting serious, right? And then guys start saying, man, I don't know what drove him to that, man, he's black, he should have been stronger than that. We don't fold under anything like that. And if I had that problem, man, I would have never did this and never did that. And all things considered, I agree with that. But however, here's the caveat. Everybody black or whatever is not cut the same, right? Everybody's not cut the same. So obviously whatever this guy was dealing with, the pressures were too much for him and he couldn't deal with it, right? Now don't get me wrong, I've been in some serious situations, man, where I was given 4 life sentences, and I was told that I was never getting out. That was man's decision. But God said something different, right? And I think that, I've seen guys that were incarcerated with me, and I've seen guys that were really, really tough, man. And they didn't have the time I had, and they folded, man. They folded like an army Swiss knife. And you had guys that got hooked on drugs. You had guys that started gambling that never gambled. You had guys that started fooling around with homosexuals. And then you had guys that committed suicide, right? Well, if you don't think that mental illness in the black community amongst black men is not serious, you needn't look no further than that situation right there. And what happened when things got really bad, this brother turned to his religion. But he didn't turn to the religious part where Islam is submissive. Islam is to submit. So see, he submitted, but I don't think that he followed the tenets on whom to dictate, whom to submit to. And I think that he listened and followed an ideology that he felt would solve his problems the whole bit. Now, looking at it on a Monday morning after the situation happened, and that's a euphemism when we say Monday morning. That's like Monday morning quarterbacking, where you know all the answers to yesterday's game. So when we're looking at this going forward, we think that, you know, maybe we could have handled it a little better, or maybe there's something that he should have done, maybe this is that, or what have you. But if you join a group or an organization, right, and you become a part of that group and a part of that organization, sometimes you sit back and you watch and you see what everyone's doing. You want to be a part. You want to be embraced. So then when you join in, then you do as the Romans do. Not knowing that this may have been a radical group, a radical set that he joined. And I guarantee you, for all the Muslim brothers and sisters that are watching this right now, there will be an agreement, especially those who are avowed Muslims and they believe in the teaching of the Quran, and they're not trying to put a twist to it like most people do with the Bible. You know what I'm saying? I don't necessarily hear a lot of people putting a twist to the Torah, but I'm sure that they do, because you have your zealots, right? Your Zionists and what have you. But this brother, his mind was clouded with all of his quote-unquote problems. And with all the problems that he had, he felt that it was greater than continuing to live. You know? So basically what he committed terroristic suicide. You know, you decided that you're having a problem. You spared your family because you was talking about you didn't like the way that would have looked had you killed your wife and your kid and then killed yourself. But yet you weren't concerned about how it looked when you jump in a truck and you drive down a crowded street during a day or evening or morning of festivities, and you just roll over damn near 100 people, right? See, because now that's the teachings that, or the radicalism. You know, you wanted to go out with a bang, and you took the lives, man, of so many innocent people. 14 as of today, and damn near 20 that's injured. But I think that, I don't know the man's wife. Nobody's spoken with her. But there are signs. There are signs, ladies and gentlemen. And I think that someone around him should have been able to recognize that. And if he isolates himself, you know, and he's no longer visiting family members and friends, I think that somebody should have a talk with that person and everything. You know, I've never experienced what he's experienced when it comes to being divorced or being left by a loved one. See, I can't measure my experiences with everyone else's. And maybe I'm twisted. Maybe something's wrong with me when I don't feel something like that maybe I should. Or when I feel something and maybe I should not. So I don't judge that person. But you know, most of us love differently. And some of us love deeper than others. Okay? But I think that someone in his family should have been able to recognize that he was going through some things. Because as I said again, I've seen guys that committed suicide in prison. And, when it was done, and I thought back on some of the encounters that we had, those that I had spoken with, I saw signs. I saw signs. So, don't think, just because we're black, and because, they say we're tough the whole bit, we go through things. And sometimes you may think that we can overcome a lot of hardships. Some of us just aren't strong as others in certain areas of our life. You know what I mean? Hold on a second, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. So some of us just aren't as strong as other members, as other family members and friends. We're just not. And that's where the community is important. That's why we're here and we call ourselves Back to the World, my brother and my sister's keeper. You see, because we want to be there to be a shoulder, to be a rock for those who are having problems. And look, none of us have degrees in counseling and case man and therapists, the whole nine. But we've physically and literally gone through a lot of the different hardships and things that a lot of our brothers and sisters are experiencing. So it hurts my heart to see something like this go down, man, and so many innocent people suffered from it. Happy birthday, happy belated birthday, Brother X. Good morning to you. Yeah, Brother X, I know, see, Brother X and I, we've talked about this, man, and sometimes you just can't don't be so proud to not ask for help. All right, to not ask for help if you feel you're going through a depressive state, if you feel that you're coming unglued. All right, and only a heartless person would basically ridicule you and tell you that you're crazy. And I've had people to ridicule me, someone in particular ridicule me, saying that I needed more than an hour's worth of therapy. Well, they may have been right. Maybe I needed more, but you see, I took the first step. I signed up for it on my own. No one pressured me. But there were things that were bugging me, not to the point that I wanted to hurt someone or hurt myself, but sometimes you just want to know. I posted something this morning saying that intelligence gets you through the door. Common sense gets you through life. But it's genius that helps you understand the difference. And sometimes, you just got to be smart enough to know when you're not smart enough to know something. I read about depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, bipolarism. I read about all these things, and when it tells you and you know what, in the run of a day, we may feel that we had characteristics of all those things I just named, man. If there's a time that comes and I can't find my keys, man, am I going to say I'm suffering from Alzheimer's? Yeah, but it's a microcosm. It's just minuscule of whatever the larger picture may be, right? Because you feel good about yourself and you feel confident does that make you a narcissist? What's going on, Rock? We have to ask ourselves that. Because you got somewhat disturbed by somebody talking loud and calling you names, all right, does that say that you're angry? You're an angry person, you're an aggressive person? So we have to stop taking things to the extreme and understanding these things. But we're not a doctor, so we can't We can't diagnose every characteristic, every one of our moods, every one of our mood swings. Right now, I don't feel like going swimming. 15 minutes later, I say, hey, yeah, let's go. Now you're saying I'm bipolar. I can't make up my mind. And we give these knee-jerk diagnoses, and then we start putting labels on things, and then, half the time we believe in this stuff. But this is where we need to go to a professional and let them know. But when people see, you got to ask yourself, in the grander scheme of things, this brother was having problems with his relationship. He was having problems with his job. He was having problems with his family. And he was having problems with his finances. There's nothing wrong with going to whichever, embracing your religion, or whatever faith, or whatever spirituality it is that you embrace. There's nothing wrong with going to that and embracing it. See, but what we do when we go to the rock, when we go to the altar, we go to the altar looking for solutions, looking for prayers that'll get us through these hard times, through these hardships, right? We don't go to the altar, we don't go to the rock looking for ways to hurt others and destroy others and then destroy ourselves in the name of getting over our problems. You know what I mean? We don't do that, brother Xavier say. Bro, I was close to committing suicide. At that moment, the pain, sadness, and depression is so bad that you just want it to stop. Absolutely, brother. See, that's a testament. That's a testimony right there. That brother said that it hurts so bad. It hurts so badly. And as I said, everybody go through. See, I can't judge another man's level of depression or anxiety to mine, nor can they to me. There are things that this brother here stands strong and firm on that I may wither. You know what I'm saying? But we need to, more dialogue needs to happen like this. And what I like about Brother Xavier, and as they say here, ex-Xavier, but where I'm from, we call it just Xavier. It has the Z. So, ex-man, please forgive me if I mispronounced. All right, to your liking. But one thing about it, this brother and I, when we sit down, we go into dialogue, and we talk. And when we're together, he's an inspiration. You know, he's the life of the circle, man. He have you laughing conversations, and then our conversations are so broad. We're talking about sports. We're talking about politics. We're talking about education. We're talking about just hanging out. We're talking about cigars. We're talking about everything. And what I liked about this brother more than anything, this brother, he expressed his bout with depression, his bout with anxiety, his bout with suicide, suicidal attempt or suicidal thoughts. You know, he works in a very, very stressful environment. I don't think Brother X no longer work in that aspect of the industry. You know, I think that now through his elevation, you know, he has a less rigorous and less stressful. You know, but when you're in the when you're in the business of saving lives, right? And then you're seeing all the ones that you can't save, it has an effect on you. And here's why I know it has an effect on you. And now I'm delving a little bit into certain emotional aspects of me, right? Dealing with me. I have a very, very, very good friend by the name of Mr. Glenn Metz. Shout out to the Metz family. And another brother nicknamed Nap, Brother Elwood. Not just those two, there are many, many others. I know these guys personally, right? Many of these guys. I have another friend, Larry. Don't want to necessarily call his name. I have Larry, and Larry's a very close friend of mine, right? So here's what I'm getting at. When I did all of our clemencies, not theirs, but when I did the clemency for me and a bunch of other guys, they went home before me. I was happy for them. Then 2 years later, I received clemency, even though I filed it 2 years earlier, right? And just like anything else, man, wasn't nobody there to celebrate with me the whole bit. Just like when I won a case, when I beat a trial, everybody else went home because I had a hung jury. And then everybody came back. Well, nobody came back for me. Nobody came back because they had got their victory. They didn't want to come back to court. So a few days later, they ruled on my partner Steve and I, and we beat the case. But I digress. I don't want to go too far off, but when I received clemency, and the second day after I had been notified that I was granted clemency, I saw my childhood friend, Mr. Glenn Metz. He had transferred from another institution to the institution where I was. We couldn't figure it out. He couldn't figure it out. But it was nothing but God. But it gave me a chance to see him and be with him before I was prepared to transfer and then come home. And ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. Survivor's guilt is real. Survivor's guilt is real. When I realized that I had received clemency, and I know that my good brothers, and then there's Mr. Jesse Cage, my co-defendant. Even though he eventually came home, man, but every day he was there after I had gotten out, man, I felt so badly. I was guilty, man. There were times, man, where I wanted to write them a letter, but I didn't know what to say. There was never a time they called and I knew it was them that I would answer. I'd answer the phone whenever, right? But I felt a sense of burden. And I used to wonder, I said, man, why do I feel this way? So I started thinking about, and you know, this is a self-analysis. I learned better when I sought therapy. But in the beginning, I was like, man, why do I feel this way? Well, you know, I read stories about guys that were in a platoon, and the platoon was under siege, and they had a firefight. And when the firefight was over, many of their comrades, you know, were expired. So after the comrades were expired, then you had one or two that survived, and they got away unscathed. But then many of these brothers came home, not just brothers, but many of these people came home, man, and they couldn't get their life back together because they saw their best friends and their comrades and their platoon mates died and bodies just ripped apart right before their eyes. And then you had many of brothers that came home like that and they got hooked on drugs. They got hooked on heroin. Some couldn't function because they were being told what to do, and they had structure. Now they don't have structure. They had to rely on their own in order to go on about life, and they couldn't. And then there was that survivor's guilt. That was the same thing that happened to the guy that was the sniper, right? That they did the movie about. He suffered from depression because he survived. He survived, and many of his guys didn't. So I was feeling that way when I first came home. And I couldn't understand why. See, survival doesn't necessarily mean that you perished. Survival simply means that you overcome something, right? That many others that were going through the same thing could not overcome, right? And being that you were close with them and y'all had a camaraderie, y'all had a connection, and then they perished for whatever reason. They failed. So now you're somewhat feeling guilty for being successful. And I know, you know, you got some guys, man, I read in the comments, man, many of you are hard for no reason, man. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, shit, Samson was the strongest man in the world, man. A woman cut his hair and that wrapped it. So it wasn't so, you know, it wasn't Samson's hair that made him weak. He was weak for a woman. We all are weak. We all are weak to something. And just because you don't feel as strongly about something doesn't make you a sucker. But at the same time, if you can recognize it, you can deal with it, you know, in its presence or when it's time to be dealt with. But Al Capone, man, Al Capone, all these gangsters, man, had women. All these gangsters were soft women. And the crazy thing is, some of the coldest guys in the world that were hardened, cold killers, they had a very, very, very soft spot for a woman in their heart. Right? You got fathers, man, they go to work every day, man. And and you know, they're the king of their domain. They're the king of their workforce, their circle. But then when they come home, right? When they come home, man, they just melt in their daughter's, and they just melt in their daughter's hand. They get out in the yard and they're playing pitch and catch with their sons. Their wife had them doing chores around the house, man, take out the garbage, the whole bit. He's the CEO of a company, but then this is the way he's moistened when he comes home. So don't think because a guy has feelings this way that he's soft, or don't criticize them simply because they have these emotional attachments. You don't have to treat everything, you know, like you are devoid of any feelings or any emotions, you know. And see, we'll clap right now if someone, a man, decides to come out as being gay. You know, we'll say, man, live your truth. Well, I'm not gonna lie to you. I ain't never stood back and clapped and say, hey man, live your truth, live your truth. Don't get me wrong. But I'm not homophobic. And when you can tell and that the person may have been gay, and then you know, 6 months, 9 months down the line, or whatever the situation is, they come out and you're saying, man, congratulations. You already knew that he was gay. You already knew. But if we can celebrate someone coming out of the closet, we should be able to embrace a person that's acknowledging that they need professional counseling. We shouldn't make them feel bad about it. A lot of people try to hide it and don't want to be they don't want to let people know that this is what they're dealing with. And that's why I said mental illness and mental health is real. And it's not anything to play with. And you heard it from a guy himself just on my deal, said that, you know, he considered suicide. You know, that's him expressing his truth. Okay? And that's what we're here to do. We're here to support it. Look, as I said again, I'm not a therapist, guys. I'm not a therapist, and brother X is not a therapist either. You know, I think I could go out on a limb and say that. But brother X has personal experience, right? And a story and a testimonial, right? You can sit down and talk with brother X, and he can elaborate on certain things that might be similar to what you're going with, and then you can identify, and then you'll say, hey, you know what, brother, I feel the same way when I wake up in the morning. I have some of these same thoughts. And then he can put you on the right path to seeking the help that you deserve, the help that you need. Okay? As I said again, you know, survivor's guilt, it's not always about you living and someone died. It's about you achieving something that's great that you really want for others and they didn't get it. And you almost feel guilty, because then when you have that conversation, you know, you're talking about, when I talk to them, it's like I'm telling them all the good things that I'm doing and the whole 9 yards. And I know that they're feeling some kind of way. Not that they're hating on me, but they're like, damn, I wish I was out there too. They're not wishing for you not to be, but they're wishing that they were as well, as you're wishing that they were there. And man, when I used to see their calls or something come across my phone, man, I'd be hurt. And then I was like, okay, now I got to put this face on, and I have to answer the phone, and I have to be strong. And then, you know, financially and professionally, or whatever it may be, I'm not where I feel I want to be. But I'm where God wants me to be at this particular time. And sometimes when we measure our success in fragments and in time, and when we can't meet that time, sometimes we start feeling the pressures and the burdens on ourselves. And then when you talk to your guys that's back there, and they know that, you know, how you were living, man, you were on top of your money game and the whole 9. And then when they talk to you months later, man, you know, you don't even have a few dollars to send their way. And you start feeling bad about that. And then when you know so much about business, then how come you're not further advanced? Then you start feeling some kind of way about that as well. A lot of people won't admit it, man, but you know, I mean, that's the hard, cold reality. Everything doesn't gel. Everything doesn't happen when you want it to happen. It happens in God's time. You know? So, back to the story about the brother in New Orleans, man. You know, man, it's a travesty, and it's a Shakespearean story, because on paper this guy lived a storied life. Handsome brother, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure he probably had other women. I'm sure he had some other women that liked him a whole bit. I don't know how deep the situation was with his wife, but they were saying that they were having some difficulties, you know. And before I go, I just want to share this, right? What I don't understand is, let's say you're a man and woman and you're in a relationship, be it marriage or, you know, lovers, and then you two share a kid, right? Or multiple kids. And then for whatever reason, the relationship takes its toll and the relationship ends. See, the only thing that ended was the intimacy between you guys. Now y'all need to be more disciplined. And it's almost like what they say, chewing bubblegum and walking at the same time. So now you two have to come together and figure out how to raise these kids while being apart. You don't just drop your seed and you go and that's the end of it. And now the mother is just like without anything or anybody or whatever the situation is and taking care of the kids. Or sometimes the mother's mad because the father got caught cheating or whatever the situation may be in most cases. Right? We're not going to even talk about abuse, physical abuse. But let's say that he got caught cheating and you decide that, hey, that's the end of it. Well, that's the end of the relationship, right? But don't shut him out of your kid's life. And guys, and if you leave because she caught you cheating and you were caught foul, you were caught bad, don't disown your kids the whole bit. This becomes the effort. This becomes the magic. See, if y'all part, the woman shouldn't be preying on and wishing for the guy's failure. Because if he fails, that's less that your kid may have. Right? As a guy, you don't want to not give to her because she has another guy. And that guy, if she may have another guy, and that guy's not obligated of taking care of your kid, he's not obligated. Out of the goodness of his heart, he's a good man, he may do that. But that's not his obligation. So this is where the effort needs to be made. And this is where we need to sit down. You see, because now you guys need to become closer in your exchange of communication, because now you just can't wake up in the morning and go to your child's bedroom and kiss them on the forehead and wake them up and get them ready for breakfast and get them ready for school. You can't walk in their bedroom at night and tuck them in. So now you have to parent alternatively. You have to learn what would make things work in your current situation, being estranged. You should always want her to win. Always. And she should always want you to win. You should want her. You can't choose who she dates. You can't dictate that. You know, you've lost that privilege. Same as her, she can't dictate, right? But you can have a say whether or not, you know, you feel comfortable with your kids around. But you just can't jump. You just can't jump out the window at the sight of any relationship that he may enters into or she may enter into, and you feel like that person is not. Well, how you doing this morning? All right. And you feel that I'm good. And you feel that that person is not qualified, or you don't want that person around your kid. Well, I can tell you it can be uncomfortable, but sometimes maybe the three of you should sit down and talk if the relationship is moving into a serious phase. And this is someone that you're going to have in your life, and you definitely got to have your kids in your life. I don't think that parents should place those stipulations as a knee-jerk reaction. I think that you should get to know the person, you know. And then if you know the person and you feel that they're not worthy to be around your children, or you don't trust them around your children, you need to be able to articulate this to your ex and let them know that, look, I'm not placing any barriers on you, but I just want you to know this is how I feel, and I would feel more comfortable if whenever my kids are over at your house, that your date is not around, or your present girlfriend or boyfriend is not around. It just makes me feel uncomfortable. It makes me feel a certain kind of way. And maybe in time you with them long enough or whatever the situation may be, and I feel comfortable, and then maybe we can get past this. But right now I just can't get past this. And I think that this is something that we should understand, because at that point, that person that you just started dating, your ex and the feelings and everything come about those kids, it supersedes your feelings for that person, because now you have to take the kids into consideration, and you don't want your kids seeing a bunch of negative shit going on between mom and dad, right? I've seen both sides. I've seen both sides of bad parenting when the parties split up. I seen where the father was mad because the wife, but it was a girlfriend, because the girlfriend split from him, and she would have to call him to come over to see his son, and he was paying the rent at their apartment, and I would go over with him from time to time. And when we went there, man, he didn't even play with his kid. I was playing pitch and catch with the son outside in the backyard. He was inside trying to put moves on the wife, on the ex, and getting all in her business and telling her about, I saw you out the other night and blah, blah, blah. Or I heard that you were out. And he's trying to dictate who she see or who she shouldn't see. But here's what happened. Lo and behold, years later, that little kid that I used to play pitch catch with, he became a professional football player. And he wore the very same name as his father. He was being known by his nickname. He couldn't stand his dad. His dad hurt him. And when he got older, he recognized that. And then he saw how the dad was cutting his mom off just to try and control her. And this guy became a professional football player. And man, I'm telling you, I might have played pitch and catch with him, man, about 10 or 15 times. And this guy remembered me and embraced me more than he did his dad. Right? Now the flip side of that, I've seen where the father tried his damnedest to be in his kid's life. And the mom didn't want him there. Morning. Happy New Year's to you. All right. Same to you. All right. So the mother, she didn't like the girls he was dating, or she like, I know you were seeing that B while we were still together and the whole bit. Okay, you know what? You resolved that issue by cutting him off and splitting. So now he's on his own. Now if that's the person he's dating or he's seeing, then okay, good riddance. But don't keep the kids from him. If you don't want them around her, that's fine. But I was there, and I know that he would want the kids to come over, and he's no longer dating her. And you're still preventing the children from being with their dad. He had 3 kids, and she was preventing the kids from going over to the dad's house. Then when he wanted to bring gifts over, the whole bit, she'd tell him to drop them off at her mother's house. She would tell him that she's going to drop the kids off because she didn't want him coming to her new place. So she's going to drop the kids off at her mother's house, and he's going to go over to the mother's house. Well, lo and behold, when the mother passed, when she passed away, may she rest in peace, when she couldn't put the kids off on no one, he could not see his kids. And I'm telling you, this brother was in a state of depression. Not to the point where he wanted to get a truck and drive through a crowd of people. But he was going through something. And he had me there as a friend, as a sounding board, to listen to him talk about it and express it. And I was not judgmental. I listened to him. I did not have all the answers because I had never gone through anything. Let me tell you something. I was out of my kid's life. I was out of my kid's life. But it wasn't because I was negligent. Put it this way. I wasn't negligent in the terms of wanting to father them and be there for them and provide for them. I was negligent because of the life I had lived. And as a result of that life, I was taken out of my kid's life. But you know what? Even then, and I wasn't there physically, I made sure that my presence was always there because I kept a letter coming. I kept a phone call. You know? I would talk to them. I would discuss things with them. I would see how they're thinking. I would see their thought patterns. There was a situation that happened with my youngest daughter. I don't mean to tell her business, but anyway, her mind was having some awkward moments with her. And now keep in mind now, my youngest daughter was only 4 years old when I was incarcerated. Well, she was coming to visit, and now she's an adult. She's never really sat down and had an adult conversation with her dad. And when she used to come with her mom, she'd just sit there and play and laugh and joke and talk, and we'll talk a little bit. She felt shy about saying things in front of her mom. When my daughter became old enough to come see me on her own, man, we talked about some of the most marvelous things you can imagine, some of the most heartfelt things you can imagine, right? Man, I was so amazed at how short my daughter was at the age of 14 and all, right? And then my daughter was like shocked and amazed at the things that I was up on, current events and the things, technology. You know, I'm in prison, but yet she's like, Dad, my daddy reads. My daddy knows more about this than most people on the streets. And the other day, my eldest daughter, Danielle, man, I can have a conversation with Danielle about anything, guys. You know, she's my princess. She's my baby. She's 42 years old. But I missed most of her adolescent and teenage ages. I mean, years. And I wasn't there to literally raise them. I wasn't there to truly be a daddy to them or father to them or whatever. But when they got older, Danielle and I had a conversation on here, man, a couple of days ago. Actually on New Year's Day. If any of you guys listen to it, man, I mean, you can hear it. I mean, I'm going back and forth, toe to toe with my daughter. We're conversing about things from life to finance, to religion, to family, to business. You know, I can't miss her. I can't miss her. All right? And sometimes all you need to know is that someone cares. So when we talk about mental illness, you just need to know that someone cares. And that someone's listening. Someone is interested. And that's why I post. Interested is interesting. When you're interested in something or someone, that's very, very interesting. It is. Because it shows that you care. And sometimes that's all a person needs to know. That's all they need to feel, is that you care. Okay? So that's just about my time, y'all. Mental illness is serious. It doesn't mean that you're crazy and you're babbling and you're talking to yourself. It can be a silent killer. It can be something that you're going through and it's festering. It's smoldering like an amber. and then all of a sudden it blows up into a blaze. And by that time, it's too late. This guy in New Orleans committed suicide. He took all those people with him, man. That's very, very selfish of him. It's very selfish. And it wasn't because of his religion that he did that. He ended up getting involved with a radical group. And I'm sure that they distorted the scriptures. And they had him believing that the only way he can overcome what he was going through was do something to take the lives of others. It don't take anybody brave, man, or strong to hurt or kill someone. It doesn't. And when your mind is twisted and distorted, it becomes even easier. Pay attention to your loved ones, guys. Pay attention to your family. Don't constantly tell them that they're crazy or they're disturbed, because now you're manifesting that. You're speaking that into existence. And if they start to believe that, guys, they're going to act out on it. Now imagine this guy's family. If he throws a party, they're going to come, not knowing that that's going to be the death of them. I wish that anyone that's going through that would not even hurt themselves. But I damn sure wish that you wouldn't hurt innocent people. Just to satisfy your thoughts about what you think is right and what you think that maybe God or Allah wanted you to do. Right? Terroristic suicide. It's one for the history books, y'all. Go out and enjoy the games today. And enjoy your family. Brother B, glad you can join me, guys. Alright? God bless you guys, and thank you guys for joining me. Alright? Peace. Yes, indeed.